Hello team, so I have spent the last maybe 3 hours dry running this map, just kinda figuring out what the meta will be, giving my guess and take how to play this map. I will not go around showing smoke lines up and stuff like that. I think that's a bit boring, and also I think like, in a few weeks time the smokes are gonna be there's gonna be better smokes out there and Molotovs and flashbangs that you can throw, but the map's gonna change so much that the lineups are useless. So this is gonna be like, how would the T's and the CTs play this map? Like, how do you take map control? How do you attack this map? I did the same on Ancient in May when that came out, and actually did pretty well. And the feedback that I got on that was that it's pretty nice not to have like some nade line up, but you actually have like some idea on how to play this map. So if you first start looking at the timings, this is the best spawn to A as a T, as right here. So the T's, if you go to down like Canal, you can call it. This is 10 seconds for the T's, right here. They can take this angle in 10 seconds. And for the CTs, they can take this angle in 12 seconds, meaning that they will have to peek into the T's. So in 12 seconds, the T's can come right here. So as you can see, you are very close to the CT when there's 12 seconds gone on the map, if you rush it. So I would think a rush, like a main rush, is going to be a very viable strat. I'm going to talk about how I will rush a main in a bit later in the video, but let's just get the timings down. So also in Canal, right here, the T's will meet the connector guy and the bridge guy. Right here. So the T's can actually post up with an AWP. They can post like this. They're exposed from this, so they can just post like this instead. The T's will have time for that. So that's kind of the... also, the T's can have time to throw multi like this. I'm going to talk about why that's important in a few seconds, or minutes. So that's kind of the Canal timings. If we go to bridge, this is 10 seconds for the T's, and for the CTs, this is 10 seconds. So 12 seconds is where he will meet them. So the T's actually, again, we talked about Canal before, like all of this, that's the T's area. And then on the bridge, again, like all of this, that's the T's area, just by spawn and by timings. I'm gonna return to bridge a bit later, but let's go to B. B, this is 9 seconds, and this is 10 seconds. And if you go to the cities, if they're best spawn, by the way, all of the timings is if you have the best spawn. If you have the worst spawn, just add it like a few seconds. But that's if both sides have best spawn, this is where they will meet. So again, best spawn on B, this is 9 seconds. Well, actually, this is this is around 9 seconds. So the T's can spot somebody going like MPK, you can call it. I don't know, like copy. Call out to something you can do with your teammates. So this MPK or copy corner, you cannot go there without getting noticed as a CT. And then as a T, as I said, this is 10 seconds, right here. So if you were to rush, and obviously this is like 5 seconds or something like that. It's very fast, maybe 7 seconds. So if you were to rush B, you will meet the cities who have time to set up. Okay, so that's the basic timings on this map. Let's talk about how I will take map control on this part. So if we start by the Canal, again, this long corridor thing you can call, I don't really see the point of it, because you don't really get an angle onto something. Like it's a good like bait spot, like lurk spot. You can just hold if somebody pushes main, but you don't really get anything done on this spot. So I will assume the T's will go down here a lot. So the way I will take this, I will go to Canal, and then I will have an AWP or a rifle, just simply closing down this. That's how I will play it. Then you can just rush like this and just hold it. And the guy holding main, I will have him throw a Molotov. I'm going to tell you why later. And then I'll just have him hold this. Okay. So the reason why this Molotov is important is if you look at overpass, if you watch some pro teams on overpass, you will see that it's very common for the connector player on T side to Molotov connector, go pick up a Molotov thrown from the A players on overpass, and then he will go to connector, and then he will Molotov connector again. So by 2 Molotov, he will have all connector control. And I think this is kind of the same on Anubis, where the A player can drop Molotov, the connector player can Molotov this, pick up the Molotov, go close to, like for a better one than that, but they can go close to the Molotov, and then they can just Molotov right side. And by this Molotov, you can't really be anywhere. Like I'm not gonna stand here as a CT if I see this Molotov come. So I would probably say that's a very, I'll probably say that's how you could take this map control. Let's have a guy Molotov, pick up second Molotov, and then you can Molotov the right side of connector. So that's how I would take Canal. If we go to bridge, I will also put 2 people here. Simply because B, you can't really get anything done. I'm gonna go back to that later. But the way I would take bridge, again, as we established, this is 12 seconds for the cities. So I will throw a Molotov like this. So they're forced to go through this, which would mess with their timing. I think this is like 14 seconds or maybe 15 seconds. So that's a huge delay. So I will throw that one. And then I will have the second guy just come to this corner. Throw easy flash like this. Have the first guy Molotov, get a flash, boom, kill this one. And then you kind of just have bridge control. And as you can see, it's very easy to take this control. There's, I'm going to talk about that later, but I've tried to find like counters from the CTs, and I couldn't really find anything that the Ts couldn't counter themselves. So it seems very T-sided map, which is a bit refreshing or scary, since the Ts also have an advantage in counter-striking in general. Like a 4 vs 4 is always in the T's favor, and also the money is more cheap to be a T than a TT. So I'm a bit surprised that it seems so T-sided just by looking at it. Obviously, I haven't seen a pro match on it, but it seems very T-sided. So a quick Molotov like this, a flash from a teammate, and you basically have bridge control. And it's, I'm going to go back to that later, but it's very hard for the CTs to counter this. And then again, you have 2 bridge. I'm just going to show how easy it is to take mid control here. You can just jump in for a bit from here, and then you can Molotov this. So this Molotov, it gets like, all of this. And this guy cannot peek out door. He can only hold like this. So just have one, like the other guy, Molotov this. Do a bad flash, and then you have 2 guys clearing this, trading each other. And then you can either smoke this off, or you can smoke this off. And that's, like, as you can see, it's very easy. I just did some basic nades right here, like some jump spot, a very easy Molotov. Just a bad flash, doesn't really matter how you throw it, and then you can just trade each other. It seems very easy to take mid control as a T. A bit too easy in my opinion. As a T, obviously I don't know how people would set up on this, but I can only give my guess and take on how I would do it. If we go to B, the reason why I would put one player B is because I think this smoke, because it allows the CTs to be in this MPK or copy area, and also stops the rush. I would say that's a very common smoke to throw as a CT. And because of this smoke, you as a T, you can't really get a lot of information. You can obviously jump spot above the smoke, but you can at maximum get like some information about it, like how many are playing B. Let's say that they throw one smoke instantly, and then they also instantly throw. It's a bad example, but let's say they throw a Molotov behind it. Then you know that's 2B, for example. So that's why you have to have one guy playing B. But I wouldn't expect him to get an entry or something. I would just expect him to hold passively. And it's a very boring place. It's kind of like a agent as a T. Like you normally have like maybe 3 mid or 2 mid and 2B. And then you have the on the T side, one guy just holding a main. I think that it would be kind of the same on this map, where we have one guy B just holding it. Maybe also you can say Mirage B side as a terrorist or something like that. It's maybe also you can say not just 2 anymore, but like in tunnels, you have one guy at tunnels just getting information, but you weren't really getting like things done. So I think that's how the T's would do it. Okay, so let's talk about some strats that I found on Anubis. And again, it seems very T-sided again. So there's a lot of strats with just a few nades that I see is very hard for the CTs to counter. So I'm gonna show an A rush right now. So I found this flash very quickly, where you simply just go to back of this corner, aim at the bottom of this, and then you walk. And as you can see, it gets a main, so the CT will get blind. So if you were to rush, would make 10 something like that, you could get an easy kill on this guy. Again, just remember the timing. It's 12 seconds the T is here, and 12 seconds the CT is right here. So you could catch him off guard. There's no other place to stand. Like the next spot is this right here. So an A rush, it could look something like that. And then I found a smoke. You can say that it's a heaven smoke. You just line up yourself with this, and then you just like this, and then you jump at the thin line right there. So you have one guy throw that smoke, come right here, do one flash, and then the other flash could be something like this. It doesn't have to be a good one, just a quick flash. So see, that smoke's heaven, and then this flash obviously gets main. Again, this is very basic nades to throw, and you basically have secured a main already. That's why I think this is so T-sided. And then you have maybe a like the fourth spawn, just to run through this flash two times. So this flash gets in this corner, doesn't bind the T players at all, and it gets the mid players trying to help. If there's an A rush, if they will get blind, it gets this spot right here, and it gets obviously it gets this spot, but you will get smoked anyway. And then it doesn't get this one, but you can see that it gets most of like the side that you can stay, and it's like some fast flashbangs you can throw. So when the T's come in, maybe let's say they don't kill the guy, then they can multi this, because if nobody's playing here, he's probably playing right here. And if you do get a kill, he's probably not playing right here. So you can multi default after that with this model, or oh, that's a bad model, but if you learn it, you can actually do it. So maybe some Molotov you can throw. That's also if you just aim high enough to the left of this one. That's a bit too high, but you see it gets this right here. So if the CTs come to help, you can hear like the tick. The CTs will not take a lot of damage, but you can hear them run out, and you will have that information. And then again, this player is going to get blind, but you can clear it and you can smoke it afterwards. So you can have a lurk in mid. There's a lot of options, and then you can also just re-molotov afterwards, like something like this maybe. Oh, that's a bad one, but something like this, right? That also gets the job done. So as you see, it's just a few flashbangs and one smoke. I don't see how you can count this as a CT. The way I will counter it is probably I will have this smoke thrown, but then again, if you get blind, then just run through it, so it's no problem at all. Then you can say you can throw this smoke and this Molotov, kinda like on Ancient and Mid, where you throw a smoke and then a Molotov. But then again, then you have wasted a smoke and Molotov, just to stop a rush that you don't know if it's coming. So that's a good trade-off for the T's. That's probably how I would counter it. And then also you have one guy hiding right here, and then another guy just throwing a flash like this. That's a way to counter it. But then again, let's hope that you don't get Molotov. But that's a nice play you can do as a CT. And then obviously a way to counter a rush is always just to play retake. Just skip them side and then just make it very hard for them. You can maybe just Molotov down default, or just make it hard for the T's to get a good afterplant. So that's like an A strat that I think maybe that's not the main like meta strat you can use, but you can say that maybe some of the nades can be used in some other strats. I think it's a good flashbang. I think it's a good smoke. So yeah, if you look at B, I don't think we will see a lot of B rushes, simply because there will always be the smoke, and if you run through it, just look at how many spots you have to clear. So I think it's very tough to rush B, so I probably wouldn't do it. So I think that's it for the T side. What I would do now is kind of just go on the CT side, and I will maybe give some ideas on how I would stop the T meta as a CT. So what I just showed you, like the A-rush, I already gave you some examples. You have this flash play, you have the smoke mono thing, or you can also just smoke an 8, that's probably a better idea. Like kind of nuke on ramp, where you smoke and then you nade afterwards. That's the way to stop it. If you go to bridge or mid, I mean, I've come up with some ideas. You could just smoke it like this. There's better ones out there. I also found one from spawn. If you come to this one and just aim right here, I'm pretty sure that will bounce. If you just fast forward a bit, you'll see that is a good bridge smoke. But then again, the T's don't have to actually respect that smoke. But that is a smoke you can throw, and then you can double up with kind of Molotov behind it. But this is a way that you could counter it. But again, we have the same problem with you use a smoke and a Molotov just to kind of get the control, and that's a lot for CT to use very early round. Then you can throw this flash if you come to this line and aim at the palm tree right there. You actually get anybody rushing like this. I think that's a better way to throw it, but you get the idea behind it. But then again, if the AWPer is posted right here, he's blocked from the flash, and you also don't have this control as a CT. Like you can't peek from here if they have a mid player, because he will simply just Molotov, and then he will spam the smoke if you decide to smoke it. So again, it's tough, but this is how I would probably counter it. There's also some flashbangs that you can use. But then again, like this does get a T player, but then again, he could just, like if I'm in T and I'm countering that, I'm just gonna go like this, Molotov for the smoke, and then get a flash from my teammate. This flash that you throw doesn't matter for me, and then I still have the same results as before. So again, I think bridge and middle is very hard. I'll probably give up mid control, and if you really want to fight it, I can do this smoke model thing that I just showed you. But again, it is a bit much. But you could do it, and that's an option. I'm excited to see how the pros would fight. If they would fight for this, how they would do it, because it seems very in favor of the T's. And then if we go to B as a CT, again, the problem is not the B main entrance. The problem is the connector. But as I showed you, like 2 Molotovs and you can't really do anything as a T. You could smoke it out like this. It can land a bit deeper, but you get the idea. But then yet again, if the smoke lands as I wanted it to do, right here, if the T's have a Molotov, they don't have to expect it. They can simply just go through it like this, like a Molotov it, and you have the same result as before. That's a really thick wall. But you get the idea. The T's can still do the same thing. But even that is not even counter. You can also just flash out, take a peek. But then again, if there's an AWPer there, or if they're hiding behind this wall, or if they're already crossed the bridge to this area, it doesn't really matter. So if it's like I spent 3 hours on this map just on an offline server. Every time that I've found like an idea that the CTs can use to counter it, I always just find a way for the T's to ignore that counter, or like a way of the T's to counter that counter. That's why I would say this is very T-sided, and I'm very excited to see how the pros would play this on the CT side. So going to sum up, on CT side you're fucked. You can use a lot of nades early, and that will help you, but that's a very bad trade-off for you. And as a T, you get a lot of map control for free, and there's a lot of flashbangs that you can use. There's and on the sides, on the bomb sides, you can't really play at many spots on the T. Like this bad spot, 1 model you're done. This spot, 1 model and you're done. This spot, 1 smoke and you're smoked out. Same about this pillar. Same about this. It seems very easy for T's to take sides. And on A side, you have this one. Again, this could get modded out. You have this one, but this could get modded out as well. Main is very easy for T's to take. This is very easy to smoke and Molotov. And this one is very easy to flash. Also, you could Molotov. I found a Molotov, but the reason why this is bad is because the T's can beat it. But there is this Molotov that you can throw. My idea was that the CTs could not come out like this, kind of like overpass mid ramp. you know, as the CTs throw the Molotov. It's kind of the same idea, just switch around. But because of the spawns, this guy, like if we have front spawn, he can beat it very easily. But that is, if the CTs doesn't if the CTs doesn't have the best spawn, he will take like 1 or 2 tick damage of it, and maybe we will see somebody actually Molotov it. That is an idea to play around there. So now I've talked about like why it's decided, the map control, and then how to take the bomb sites. So now I will just quickly run through it and say, like, just by looking at it, what will I change? Obviously, we have to wait how to see the pros play it. What I would probably do is make it a bit more decided by having more covers on the sides. That both for A and for B. And I will probably also make the T's have to fight a bit more for this control. Maybe add a corridor like this, maybe, or something like that. It seems very T-sided. And then this long corridor right here, or short, I don't know what the color is for it, but it seems very useless. I don't see the point of it at all. If you, like, maybe just remove it entirely, but it's not like you can do some sick nades with it. So I failed to see how, like, it would pretty much be like just a guy standing here and just holding Canal for his teammate. It's just a very boring way to play it. But that's if it's the best way, people will play it, even though it's boring. Before I end off the video, I can tell you a play that I found. It's very easy. The CT, like, have two CTs rush out B and have one guy flashing for him. You can even flash two times if you want. So the 2 CTs, they can clear this guy. Just clear it, and then they can get the early information and they can rotate off. That is a play that I found. I don't know if it's going to be used, but I think it's worth a try at least. I think that's pretty much it that I will cover. In conclusion, very T-sided. I think, yeah, I just think there's going to be some changes to it very quickly, because you can really, like, T-side maps doesn't work on like in Counter-Strike because of the economy and the way the T-side works. It's always a favor of the T. So if the map is T-sided, like, that would be very T-sided. But yeah, we have to wait to see how pros play. But this is my take on the meta, and this is how I think the meta is going to be in the map.